Am I the asshole for not taking care of my disabled daughter? Throwaway account. Also please excuse my English, I'm not a native speaker. Some background info: I, 41M, have disabled daughter, Molly, 11F, with my ex-girlfriend, Sarah, 37F. This all started 12 years ago. Me and Sarah were together for about 4 years and we were trying to have a baby. After couple weeks of trying she got pregnant and we were super exited. Unfortunately in her 4th month doctors told us that our baby is severely disabled and advised us to get an abortion. It was very hard on us. We started arguing a lot, because Sarah wanted to keep the baby and I didn't. I said I don't want to spend my whole life taking care of a child and throw everything away, but Sarah didn't want to kill the baby. We argued about this every day. Eventually it became too much and we broke up. We still kept in contact with each other as friends. Couple months later she went into labor. I came into the hospital with her to support her. As the doctors said Molly was born severely disabled, they kept her in the hospital for couple of weeks and then gave her to Sarah. She took her to her house and I visited them couple times. Within the next months I got a job offer and moved away to another city. Me and Sarah are still in contact and I send them money every month, but we meet each other very rarely, about once in 2 years. So now Molly is 11 years old. She is bound to a wheelchair and will never walk. She has a mind of a 3-year-old and can't speak. Sarah left everything to take care of her. She is at home with her 24/7, because Molly is unable to do anything on her own. They get state contributions since Sarah can't go to work and I send them money. I have a wife now and 2 daughters 5Y0, and we live about 4 hours drive away from Sarah. Sarah has called me last week saying that it's too much on her. She said she does nothing else than take care of Molly and she is tired. She gave up on her career, Bobby's, friends and everything. She asked me to start taking care of Molly as well. She asked if I could have her in my care at least 1 week every 2 months in the beginning and after I know how to take care of her then maybe more often. I talked about it with my wife and we both agreed we don't want to take care of Molly. I apologized to Sarah and instead I offered to pay for a professional to take care of her or to pay some facility to take her in, but Sarah refused. She doesn't want a stranger to take care of Molly nor put her away in a facility. I feel really bad for Sarah, but I have a responsibility to my 2 daughters and my wife now. I talked about it with my parents and they understand and don't blame me, but I feel like I might be not the asshole. You offered to pay for a solution, which is very generous. I hate to say it, but this is what she signed up for when she decided to continue the pregnancy. Look, no judgment, but in-home care of Molly is not sustainable long run. Eventually you and her mom will not be around capable, so you need to find her a good home where she can be cared for, alive her best life. The good ones have long waiting lists, so you should be looking into those now. Honestly, Molly's mother should have been looking into them before she reached her breaking point. Not the asshole. Everyone has the right to choose. You made it clear your choice on this pregnancy. She decided to do this, not you. I'm sorry, I think it's so morally wrong to have babies you know will only ever suffer. Nah. Sarah wasn't wrong to ask for help, but you weren't wrong to tell her that you can't take care of Molly in your home either. If you aren't confident in your ability to provide her the care she needs, it wouldn't be fair to Molly either. That said, I would encourage both of you to look into the resources available to help with Molly's care. There are in-home options available that Sarah may be more comfortable with. Not the asshole at all. You made it clear that you wanted to abort, and she was on her own if she didn't. Nobody can be forced to parent. You're also helping financially and offering professional care. This is, unfortunately, the consequences of her choice. No assholes here, and this is also the reason so many people choose to abort a fetus with abnormalities. It's all very high-minded and noble to say you will look after your child and love them unconditionally, but being a full-time carer is a really tough job, and it's even harder without any support. You've already offered to pay for a caregiver, so you're not the asshole. In the long term, it's possible your daughter will need to be cared for in a facility rather than at home, especially when her mum gets older. Sad situation all around. Not the asshole. My sister is disabled. Looking after her destroyed not only my parents' relationship, but any chance they had of forming a relationship with myself and my other siblings, as all hours were spent taking care of the disabled child. I don't think of my parents as family, and it's not their fault, but literally there was no time for us normal kids. Putting her in a home with a professional carer is the best option. How are you? A father who hasn't really seen her in over 10 years for any extended time, at least from how your post made it sound, not a stranger. That argument alone doesn't really make sense. I understand why she would want you to do it, but you made it clear in the start that's not what you wanted and even split up because of it. She made her bed, but now refuses to lie in it. From what you offered, you're willing to help financially, but expecting you to uproot your new life when you didn't even want to previously, is just wrong. Not the asshole. Nah. Everybody is making the best of a very difficult situation. You are all trying in good faith to meet your responsibilities. You were honest, communicative, and upfront about your intentions. Yet you are still financially supporting the child. I am so sorry that Sarah and you are having such a difficult time in your lives. I wish you all the best. Not the asshole. Sue, not the asshole. You both had the right to decide if you want a child that is not going to be able to really live. You didn't want this, but your opinion became irrelevant because you were not the one who was pregnant. This is really unfair. Your ex was really selfish for not choosing the abortion. In my opinion, it's just cruel for your daughter. Your ex knew what she got herself into. It's her fault for ruining her life, and she should not try to pull you into this, after she noticed it was wrong. I wouldn't even want to pay a cent. Make dumb decisions, live with them. The eugenics in this thread is disconcerting. A disabled child is not a mess one gets themselves into. At 4 months, an abortion is a big deal and mom is at no fault for not wanting one. The child is a living, feeling human being. Think of it this way: if she was born at the same level of functioning as your other daughters, would you be okay never interacting with her as you do now? Also, the idea of just getting a facility is a nice way to say, throw them away where no one will see. It is reasonable a mother does not want her 11-year-old daughter in a facility. Your obligation should be to your first child, just as much as it is to your subsequent children. I hope poor mom gets respite care, and I am very sad that a man like you is the child's father. Not the asshole. Sarah is the asshole for condemning Molly's life to those awful circumstances. Not the asshole offering to pay for professional care is about the best thing you could do. You have done your due diligence. Nah. You know your own limitations and offered an alternate solution, professional help. Sarah isn't an asshole for asking, but she does have to accept that you won't be personally involved like you have said from the beginning you wouldn't be. Nah. Sarah needs to face the fact that her daughter needs a full-time care center. One day Sarah is not going to be there to decide which facility would be best suited for her, when right now she is able to advocate for her daughter, still see her all the time, but also have respite. Someone in the comments suggested seeing what respite options there are outside of facility care. That would be a good place to start, though Sarah has to be on board, which sounds like its own battle. I don't understand the selfishness and stupidity of some people. The doctor told her the child would be disabled. Why would she insist on bringing a disabled child to this world? And now she complains because she doesn't want to take care of the baby she chose to have? No ma'am. She made her bed, now she needs to lie in it. Not the asshole. I might be missing something, unless it's different in your country. Shouldn't your daughter be going to school? Everyone goes to school. A classmate of my son, special needs unit, is in a wheelchair, nonverbal and tube-fed. She goes to school every day. There are also special needs schools. My friend, classmate's parent, even still works while she's at school. She should be getting some time to herself. I know it's still hard, mum, to 2 special needs boys, but I definitely haven't given up hobbies or work. No assholes here, although I really feel for her. Not the asshole, but I find it horribly funny that Sarah doesn't want a stranger to take care of Molly, but you have only met her a few times or are functionally a stranger. Not the asshole, but I do think couples should discuss these what-ifs before TTC to ensure they are on the same page. That said, you offered a solution. Her refusal is not on you. Not the asshole, but a very sad situation. Not the asshole. You told her you didn't want a disabled child and she chose not to abort. She gave birth knowing you wouldn't be around. You do what you are required by paying child support. You are the asshole. You actively tried to have a child, and as such actively put yourself at risk of having a disabled child. Even without that, abandoning a child is a horrible thing to do. Info. Before you and Sarah began trying to conceive, did you have a conversation about what you would do in the event that the child turned out to have a disability? Not the asshole. Remember, it's a woman's body and it's her right to choose. With that being said, the father also has the right to choose if he'll be in the child's life, disability or not. She was told exactly what would happen and she still decided to have the child. It takes two to make a baby, so why should only one person be able to make all the decisions? She can't make hers and yours. Picture it this way, you'd be called an animal if you forced her to have an abortion, or if you forced her to have the baby. You can't have your cake and eat it too. It just sounds bad saying it this way because there is a child involved. I'm really scared for the future here. It seems as though everyone just thinks we should just round up all the disabled people and do away with us. First of all, anyone can become disabled at any time. Life is just that unpredictable. Second, I know everyone is saying he has no responsibility because he wanted the abortion but she would have been 16 weeks pregnant. I don't know where AITA's from, but it might not even be legal to terminate that far into a pregnancy. I'm not sure all of the laws even in the US where I'm from. I think that far along is illegal in most states but I could be wrong. Nah. It sucks. But it sounds like your ex finally sees your perspective. I took in my severely disabled brother after discovering his former caretaker was abusing him. I never wanted children, and suddenly I was responsible for him all of the time. It's exhausting. It took about a year to get him into a group home. First off, not the asshole. Second, if she's willing to move Molly into a group home, I think you should take her for a little bit to give her mother a break. Full-time caregiving is exhausting, emotionally and physically. I got one weekend off during my time caring for my brother and it saved my life. Third, if you need help navigating paperwork for support in homes and live in the US, drop me a DM. It's a nightmare. No judgment, this is far too messy and painful. Honestly, I just feel sorry for Molly. But if you do care for her, look into long-term homes. You and her mother won't be around forever and better a good private home than some of the others ones. I'm not gonna call anyone an asshole but you should have had a thorough conversation before conceiving the baby. There is obviously a difference in personal beliefs. You can't force an abortion. With that being said, although it was her choice to have the child and care for it, she probably has a fear of her daughter being abused and honestly that's not irrational. She could be suffering from depression or some other emotional issues and she's probably asking for a hand. Just because she didn't abort doesn't mean it all falls on her. Yet again, you are her father and you did offer a solution, and as a father you should have just as much a say in her care. I think you should go over it some more with your ex and try to ease her worry. Not the asshole. Also, she doesn't want a stranger to take care of Molly. To be frank, you are a stranger to Molly. Not the asshole, she had the baby knowing about her disabilities, she had it coming. Yikes. Is there any way you can convince Sarah to accept the hired help you are offering? At her home, under her supervision, if she is that tired, she might consider it after some convincing. I really hope you can. Poor Molly. But you wanted to terminate the pregnancy because of this exact reason, you broke up because of this exact reason, and you are being responsible by providing money, so no, not the asshole. You are the asshole big time. You literally tried to conceive this child on purpose. Then abandoned her when she needed you the most. What would you do if your other daughters became disabled at some point? Or your new wife? Abandon them too? You have 3 kids. You deserve none of them. Holy shit. Not the asshole. She had a chance to back out of this when she had an opportunity to abort. Everyone likes to elevate the parents of the disabled to saint status and pretend that it's remotely easy with just enough love. It's not. It's rough. And people get run into the ground with how all-consuming and exhausting it is. There's nothing wrong with opting out of that life. And it's not okay to shame someone who did. You are the asshole. When you get someone pregnant, you're responsible for everything that comes from that. You can't just wash your hands of it by supporting an abortion. This child is your child, you need to treat her like she is. If one of your other children got in an accident and ended up with a disability, would you care for them? Of course you would. She's not asking you to have her all the time, just to give her a break. Poor kid. Really sad for her. You are the asshole totally. A kid, even if you say you don't want it, it's your responsibility. You're her dad. What would you do if her mother passes away? And some things just can't be bought with money. You are the asshole. Love and care should not and never have been conditional on the health of your daughter. First of all, you are the asshole, but not because of not wanting to care for someone, but because you have some serious god-awful ableism going on here. Molly is a person now, regardless of capability to care for her own needs, and deserves the care and support of those who care for her. It is normal for caregivers to feel burnout. If you are willing to pay someone to come in and help, or to send her to a good facility that is equipped to help her needs, that is great but very expensive. It would be worth it if you can find a quality care facility. However, you need to realize that people with disabilities are not burdens, they are people. So be a parent and learn to take the responsibility or sign off on your rights in a court so her mother can gain more assistance. Not going to say you're not, but you did try to compromise. There is a lot of gray area and most of it is dark gray. I feel bad for your ex-wife and your older daughter. My great-uncle that died very recently spent most of his life in a wheelchair and had the mind of a small child. My uncle was still his own person and I care for him. I wish I lived closer to him when he was alive, because I felt as though he was not always being treated with the respect decent human beings deserve. Dude, just take care of your daughter for a weekend occasionally. Won't kill you, and might teach your other kids some valuable life lessons. Not the asshole. Sarah doesn't want a stranger to take care of Molly, but that's exactly what she's proposing. The fact that the stranger is her biodad doesn't change the fact that he's a stranger. Take care of your daughter, arsehole. I am not sure where you are located. We have respite care here. I work with disabled children. Their parents can apply for respite care, where the kids go to another family or a camp temporarily so a parent can get a break. It is not a stranger taking care of the child for the rest of their lives, just a short amount of time. Do you have such a thing where you live? Just a suggestion to help out Sarah. Not the asshole, you made your choice and she made her. Now that she regrets her choice, she wants to disregards yours. Not the asshole at all. And I always find it incredibly cruel to continue such a pregnancy. All this medical advancement to aid parents to avoid such tragedy and avoid the future suffering of the child. And people are not using it. Honestly, putting Molly with you would be putting her with a stranger. That kid doesn't know you and never had a relationship with you, no judgment at all, but I don't see it being any different putting the kid with you versus putting it with a qualified nurse. Not the asshole, you've done a lot for your ex and her kid that she wanted to keep. She knew the repercussions of keeping Molly but decided she wanted that sort of life. As someone who worked with PMLD children, I truly recommend using a respite facility for them. If you get a good one, the staff can really get a lot out of even the most disabled child. No, you offered to pay for alternative care so Sarah could have a break. I agree that at some point she will need long-term care and Sarah should be looking into that now. You obviously weren't ready to have a child if you knew you wouldn't be there through all the possible situations. You wanted a perfect child, and when you didn't get that, you left. You did what was easy, not the right thing. Not the asshole, you are taking care of her. You already pay child support, and visit when you can, plus you offered to pay for assisted living. That facility would probably be the best thing for her. It's safe, secure, and has trained professionals.